Hi everyone and welcome to Prophet Hour.
This is your host, Tom.
I'm Carolina.
I'm Lucy.
And I'm Sookie. And we will be talking supernatural meta this evening, but first of all, we have an announcement for you guys. We already posted this on Tumblr, but in case you didn't see, we have brand new meta pages up on the Profound Radio website. So if you go to profoundradio.com, there should be a meta link at the top, and it will link you to our personal pages that will be filled with meta that we discuss on Prophet Hour, but also off Prophet Hour. So definitely go check it out if you can. Okay.
Hi, folks. We're going to basically run right into this. Just get started with our lightning round. Over the last few days this week, we ran a poll on several topics as to what you guys want us to talk about. One of our topics, the winning one is the fact that Sam isn't catching on with regards to Ezekiel out of character for him. They actually talked about this a bit on Profound Radio Saturday before us, but we're going to address that as well. 2 to 3 minutes max. Carol, let's start with you.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, so I think that it's not completely or actually out of character for Sam, but it's still pretty odd. Like, I would say that Sam just really trusts Dean, and in connection with that, it's not out of character that he believes Dean or doesn't question the things that he says. But on the other hand, it's still the fact that Sam keeps getting knocked out and keeps forgetting stuff, and Dean keeps acting weird, really weird. And Sam by now should know that every time Dean has acted weird in that way, that he actually tried to keep something from Sam. What I was actually thinking that, because it just seems pretty off for Sam, is maybe that Zeke actually has a pretty important role in this, because we know that Zeke is making Sam feeling better. As Sam said, that he's not only feeling physically healthier and stronger, but also mentally, that he's happy for the first time in a really long time. So if Zeke can make him feel like that, maybe Zeke can also manipulate the way Sam thinks and the way Sam feels, so that he might block Sam's doubt a bit. But I'm pretty sure that on long term, Sam will catch up on what is actually going on, and if he doesn't, then this is going to be really out of character. But right now, I think we're just not far enough into the season to actually say if it's an incoherency or out of character, just bad writing by the writers, or if it's something they do deliberately. Okay.
Right. Lucy, what do you think?
Well, I originally thought, Sam was being less resistant to Dean as he would have been in the past in regards to what's going on and arguing against him, because of where season 8 left off. We have Sam literally at the end of his line, hurt that Dean can trust Castiel, Benny, and others, but not him. And then we kick off season 9 with this sort of repair and trust. And I thought Sam was doing his best to just meet Dean halfway, and he really wanted this relationship with his brother to work. But then we had that conversation a few days ago on how we really see that theme of dependency and addiction from Dean to Ezekiel, similar to how it is for Ruby and Sam. While there's this great parallel in themes, there are other ways to portray that theme. You don't have to dumb Sam down to get across that theme of addiction. And then this episode happens. So obviously I'm really on the fence. But then this other episode happens this week. And someone made the comment about Dean's last line that got the impression that Dean's worried Ezekiel's personality is going to take over Sam's. And, sort of tying it to Colonel the dog and Dean, while not having a literal mind meld, just like Sam and Ezekiel, there's definitely been, these expressions of certain behaviors. So I, kind of on the same note, I think there's just we just have a lot more we need to see and look at. I don't want to make a definitive, opinion or statement about it, but I don't know. I really hope that Sam is at least keeping a log of all these incidents where he's all of a sudden really sucking as the hunter out of nowhere and just, keeping it down, storing it away. But I'm still pretty much on the fence. I don't really know. We'll see. But that's it for what I have for now.
Okay.
Well,
Sookie?
Yeah. I just want to react to something that Caro said, actually. Caro, you said if Zeke, because I do think it's out of character. You guys are more in the corner of it's not out of character, but I think it's out of character. And if Zeke can manipulate how Sam feels and stuff like that, so why doesn't he make him forget about hearing the name Zeke? Like, Dean yells Zeke, and Zeke immediately appears. And if he can make Sam feel whatever he wants to feel and think whatever he wants to think and make him seem like everything is normal and nothing is wrong, then why didn't he just erase that little thing out of his memory? So, I don't know, it's just, it seems really weird to me that Sam can't catch on that something is wrong. I think he would have done so a long time ago already, and maybe it's because of the end of how season 8 ended that he sort of reconnected with Dean in concerning their trust issues and so forth, that he doesn't want to jump to conclusions right away. But it seems very odd that he doesn't keep asking questions, but maybe we will see that he has, like Luce, like you said, keeping a log would be really cool that he did that, and it would surprise me if he didn't. So it's kind of contrastive, like counterintuitive, that he feels really good, he feels really healthy, he keeps saying that he is healthy, but then on the other hand, he keeps getting knocked out and he keeps being unconscious while Dean saves the day. So that can't be really good for his persona. So I mean, it doesn't match to me anyway. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay. I'm kind of on the fence about it myself too. I think with this last episode, Dog Day Afternoon, it really felt forced that Sam does have a history of internalizing things, especially when it comes to things that Dean tells him, criticisms from Dean, and that sort of thing. But he internalizes a lot and then eventually explodes. That's pretty much how Sam operates most of the time. So, like pretty much everyone else, I'm just waiting for the straw to break the camel's back and for him to go nuclear on this. It's going to be big. It's going to be awful once he does finally figure it out. In the meantime, he's a really smart guy, and he's trusting. He trusts Dean, but not that much. Like I said, I think they just tried way too hard with Sam's reaction to it. The last episode was just not sensical, even if he is trying really hard to trust Dean's word and go along with what he's doing here and reconnect with him. I think that's just out there because Ezekiel obviously didn't clean up the blood, didn't erase Sam's memory of having his neck ripped open, or the pain that caused, or the villain dude's reaction afterward. Ezekiel didn't remove any of that. So for Sam to just be like, yeah, okay, whatever, it's just happened, it seems kind of Oh no. I don't know that's necessarily out of character, but it is definitely bad writing. And I'll go ahead and leave that online. So that's pretty much our weigh-ins on that. We are, of course, going to have another lightning round come next week. We will try to have that up by Thursday. The
Try.
try. Try. You know,
We promise this every week.
try is always the operative term.
But thanks for voting anyway, because we always get a lot of votes every week, and it's really thank you for voting. So
yeah, we really appreciate the input there, and of course you can help us build the next poll by sending in questions to Profound Radio on Tumblr or on Twitter. And we'll have the first runner-up from this last week, which was, see, it's actually tied now. The poll was supposed to close right before PR went on, but I think it was what one thing could Supernatural introduce to improve the series. So that will be an option on next week's poll, in addition to 4 more new ones. So tell us what you'd like us to talk about, and we will put the poll up, and then you can vote on it. So I'll tend to come up with the great ideas. We appreciate it. And speaking of discussion, we're going to open up the solo and discussion things. We have been kind of changing things around since this is, again, a new show, so we're still feeling things out. With our solo segments, what we're doing is we'll have each person present their thesis, basically, and then discuss it for a bit. We're going to open up a bit longer discussion than last time, I think, because that seems to work pretty well. We're starting up with Carolina.
Exactly. And so I'm going to talk about a topic that has actually come up quite a lot in the polls that we had, but like the questions never got enough votes to actually be talked about on the show. And what I'm going to talk about is basically the whole Crowley versus Abaddon topic. And what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to like characterize Crowley and Abaddon and their motivations for a bit, then compare them, and just talk a bit about what I hope is going to happen in the future and what I think is going to happen. So Crowley basically represents the bureaucrat in hell that worked himself up to the position that he has now. He's been a salesman who's sold his soul for something actually pretty trivial. Then he became a demon, and then the king of the crossroads. And this alone is like quite a huge career. Like he was just some guy who sold his soul, and then he became this really important demon, and now he's even the king of hell. And we don't really see on the show how he does it, but he mainly gets the throne to intriguing and tricking people on a regular basis. And this is kind of how he made his way through his whole life as the demon. Crowley is highly intelligent and very, very rational, despite his shouting that might give another first impression, but we all know that it's just, it just fits him, and he really isn't, he might be a very, he has quite a temper, but he still thinks about what he's doing, and he knows what's up, and he plans his actions. And what I think is one thing where you can see this very, very well is when he compromised Cass in season 6, because I'm convinced that he knew how naive Cass is, and that he knew what Cass' weak points are, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not alone with this. And at this point, I want to refer to Sookie's meter from, I think it was the 26th of November, where she was talking about Castiel's naivety. So you can just check this on the Profound Radio page or her Tumblr as well. I think you've got it on Tumblr, right?
Yes, but
Yeah.
just go to the new pages.
Yeah. Okay. Go to the Profound Radio website and check it out. So, what is so important about Crowley as well, and what has him practically surviving, is the fact that he isn't underestimating the Winchesters. And this has made him one of the most important players in the game. He has been around for such a long time now. And this just shows that his strategy is successful. And he's like this sad power in the supernatural world, completely beside the fact that he's also kind of the viewer's favorite right now. So, coming to Abaddon, we've got another character that the moment she was introduced, she was loved by the fans. But not even she is as beloved as Crowley, or at least this is the impression that I get from the fandom. This is undoubtedly caused by Mark Shepard's amazing acting, but I think that there are also a few that there is more to it, but I'm going to talk about this more in the written meter, so I'm not going to talk about this now. So Abaddon is pretty much the character that came rushing in, and she broke down walls and caused major trouble from the moment she arrived. Like, she raised hell the moment she started to be on screen. Now, with Abaddon, the problem is that as a Knight of Hell, she theoretically is superior to Crowley. And looking at the ranks of Crowley and Abaddon, Abaddon clearly has the bigger right to rule Hell. But what I think is that Abaddon in general is also a way more rebellious type than Crowley actually is. I'm convinced that Abaddon was kind of content with the situation as it was back in her time, back where she came from. And then she gets like pulled into our time, and she finds a completely new situation with which she is not happy at all. Someone who is unworthy is sitting on the throne of Hell, and she knows that she actually that she as a Knight of Hell is like the next not really she didn't inherit the throne, but with Lucifer in the cage, she's like the last remaining really, really powerful demon, and she's determined to change something, no matter what it might cost. And we all know where a demon's determination can get them. So, but the problem with Abaddon is that, which is basically Crowley's advantage here, is the fact that she thinks that that she is kind of underestimating the Winchesters, especially after she almost got to Dean. And I think that now she's pretty sure of herself. So I think that this is something that is really going to be like a challenge for her, because with Crowley and Abaddon we have like these two strong and dangerous people set up against each other, and where Crowley is not a warrior, at least not foremost, and Abaddon isn't really a strategist, we have two really different kinds of fighting against each other. And I think that Crowley is really at an advantage here, especially in the confusion that we have now, because Heaven and Hell are both in chaos and split up and turned against themselves. And I think I'm just going to wrap the ending up now. I think that Abaddon might be able to push Crowley from the throne, but she won't be able to kill him. And we all know that as long as Crowley is alive, he's a really serious threat. So what I would actually like to see in season 9 is, as much as I love Abaddon, I rather see Crowley getting out of that as the winner in the end. And I think I'm running out of time. So I'm actually
over.
Okay. No, it's actually, I don't have anything important to say, so I'm just gonna stop here and just put that into my meter. So
we'll keep discussing this topic.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
I think you're right, though. Your last point, she won't be able to kill Crowley, but I think she'll also fail to kill the Winchesters because, like you said, she underestimates them heavily.
Yeah.
So
I think she
underestimates Crowley as well.
Yeah, I think she underestimates everyone else and overestimates herself. I mean, to be fair, she is a super badass. But
super hot badass.
Super. Yes, she's pretty super in general.
Amen.
But yeah,
you're doing good.
She's a fast burning type. You know, Crowley is the sort that knows how to pace himself and how to limit his reach when he needs to, and draw back and withdraw and go under the wire, or not under the wire. What's the word I'm looking for? Go under the radar. Whereas Abaddon, Ed points out in chat here that she underestimates them because she hasn't seen them do the things that all the other creepy crawlies have seen them do. To be fair, Crowley didn't either at first. He didn't. Well, he could have been stalking them for a while, which would be an interesting turn of events if they took it that way. But Crowley from the get-go was cautious and looking out for number one in a cautious way, whereas Abaddon sees that basically she's the top of the food chain now as far as she's concerned. So why shouldn't she do whatever she wants to? Which is kind of how Crowley was acting last season, and it didn't work out too well for him either. But as spectacular as Abaddon's show of force tends to be, her end is going to be about the same.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just the difference in their characters, because Crowley is all like, wait things out, plotting and seeing, carefully plotting events and what he can do to keep himself safe, but also make sure that that happens what he wants to happen, while Abaddon is all like straight ahead, go in, like the way that she burst into the church at the end of season 8, like it was no plan, just storming right in, and of course Sam was able to vanquish her out and kill her because she had no plan. That's something Crowley would never do. So
but I think we'll see her adapt. All I can think of is that, she knows she messed up the first time, and then she decided she was going to play smart and sought after soldiers, already trained individuals who know how to kill and do A, B, and C, sought them out. And I think what also is pretty worrying is that, Abaddon is a character who, when she's talking to the demons all lined up, she made some sort of comment going along the lines of, why are we even worrying about deals and signing deals? Like, forget that. If we want something, we just take it. While for Crowley, he really takes more of it's all about taking deals, but he's really manipulative about it. So I think what's really worrying is that, Abaddon is certainly a character who's going to do as much as she can to not play by the rules, because what are rules anyways?
Yeah, well, like I said, her boss is gone, so why shouldn't she do whatever she wants, Plug and jump on the bed, as Balthazar put it. Another element there possibly at work is that Crowley knows that souls are power, whereas Abaddon seems to be going straight after territory. If she's not wanting demons to go after deals, then and just drag them into hell. Well, I mean, I guess technically, since the angels aren't in heaven anymore and don't have most of their powers, that would prevent them from going to war against the demons if they did do something like that. But I don't know. She seems to be purely after territory, whereas Crowley seems to be after a power base from which he can go in any direction that he wants.
Right. I think what Abaddon also doesn't really notice is that she's actually weak. She's kind of actually weakening Hell by what she's doing. Because if there were really still demons around who are on Crowley's side, for whatever reason, then she's splitting up Hell, and she's going to have civil war in Hell. And I'm pretty sure that Crowley is going to get out of the bunker pretty soon. Like, for example, that something is happening, and just the Winchesters need his help, so they release him from his chains, and then shit is going to go down. And I think if Crowley is back in the game, like really, really back in the game, then like having war in Hell with the situation that we have in Heaven right now, this is just going to be an even bigger chaos than it already is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Abaddon just isn't really thinking about the consequences of her actions, whereas Crowley really is doing that.
But like you said, what Abaddon is doing might screw up Hell, but I think Hell is already screwed up. I mean, think about how long is Crowley gone, and he is the king of Hell. He's supposed to,
screwing it up even more.
But he's supposed to make things be in order around there and just rule Hell, and he's not there. I really wonder what's going on down there, because it could be disastrous, actually.
Well, I mean, it's already pandemonium, so how much worse can Hell really get?
Knock on wood.
Like, oh no, it's a free-for-all. People are torturing and dying and getting eaten. Oh wait.
That already happened.
Oh wait, there's random holes to Hell too. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's an issue. But I guess we will find out later in the season whether or not they're going to do anything with that. Let's go ahead and close this one out. We've taken about a good 15 minutes. That was good. Lucy is up next with a topic that I hate her for because it is near to my heart.
Yes. Depression.
Yeah.
Hello. Wow. All right, so I'll just get right to it. So I'm just going to give the heart of the analysis a really brief overview. There's just so much to talk about that I couldn't even put in my analysis because it literally would take me weeks to write up. That's how awful it is. So you'll see. You'll find out. But the information I found was pretty enlightening and very troubling. And Supernatural Verse took the Lucifer story to a whole new level by placing Lucifer in solitary confinement within the cage. In other literary and media works of the devil, we say that he's capable of roaming around, he's able to interact with others. Yet in Supernatural, we see that Lucifer is given a sentence of isolation, and it's perceived isolation, which is a state in which the individual lacks a sense of belonging socially, and then also objective isolation. But before I can even talk about that, I briefly talk about how isolation is that absence of community and gaining social and environmental interaction, and that community really creates, self-conception and identity, and it really links the individual to society. It's a guideline to behavior. It creates a social self. It gives purpose. It's psychologically healthy. And these roles are the foundation of identity, and you can have multiple roles. So when I mean by multiple roles, I mean that roles as, for myself, I am a student, I am a sibling, I'm et cetera and et cetera. And so with Lucifer, his roles was as a son, the morning star himself, minister of his father's work, sibling, God's favorite, et cetera, et cetera. So in Heaven really continued to perpetuate these positive roles and identity through interaction. However, the lack of an identity really leads the individual to not knowing how to behave, and anxiety levels increase, depression comes out, and we see severely disorganized behavior. And there's this sort of theory called egoistic and anomic suicide, and the literal purpose of it is the purpose in and through roles really preserves the individual from suicide through meaningful existence. So the lack of roles leads to high rates of suicide and self-harm. And I haven't even talked about isolation yet. Man, you guys don't even know. So Lucifer, I haven't even started. So Lucifer really loses his role and identity through his rebellion. You know, and a common theme in literary works and biblical texts is that the devil is absent from God's view. And so we see the role of a brother, God's favorite, morning star, and so forth, is abruptly taken, and the community that once embraced him now sort of rebukes him. So this leads into perceived social isolation, and where Lucifer perceives those around him as antagonistic. And so this progresses to objective isolation, being tossed into the cage. And, you know, solitary confinement isn't something that's new. It's actually something that's continued to be practiced today in our prisons. And solitary confinement was created to limit deviant behavior from offenders, but we see that emerging from solitary confinement is this emergence of really obsessive and aggressive fantasies of revenge and vengeance. It leads to great problems in impulse control. The inmates actually ending up worse than when they originally entered, and I'd argue that long-term isolation is this really grotesque and drawn-out form of lobotomy. And there was a brief study done on electrical activity in the brain when placed in solitary confinement, and within days, just days, the brain showed abnormal patterns of characteristic of delirium, and you see hallucinations begin to occur, auditory and visual, rather quickly. And it's this complete lack of social contact that makes it difficult to distinguish what is real from what is not, what is external from what is internal. And the brain begins to take on this sort of hypervigilant response, I want to say, constantly being alert and feeling threatened. And, you know, we see a lot of PTSD symptoms from those who leave solitary confinement. So individuals in long-term isolation are at increased risk for developing symptoms of mental illness. Social isolation is correlated with clinical depression, long-term impulse control disorder, and prisoners with pre-existing mental illnesses are actually at particular risk for developing more severe psychiatric symptoms in solitary confinement. And so what we really see is psychosis, a lot of suicidal behavior, and self-mutilation are commonly seen. And a lot of these self-harm symptoms is due to this intense need to create stimulation in an environment that deprives them of it. So it has been reported that offenders that have these hallucinations often persecute them. So it's actually these hallucinations kind of encourage and entice the individuals to harm him and herself. And in the end, you know, this absence of this social context, I want to call it, individuals become really sensitive. They're very vulnerable to the influence of those who control the environment around them. And so we really see this craving for social interaction and contact. But the longer you remain within an isolating environment, that individual becomes hyper-responsive to touch. So meaning that touch that would have been considered comforting and loving is now perceived to them as very irritating, and they're very fearful of touch. So the same responses are completely different. And you actually see them avoiding touch and maybe even responding violently to touch. And so what has to be remembered, though, as awful that this is, it gets worse. Because studies done on inmates, these are studies done on inmates, humans. This is around a range of from a few days to an average amount of 10 or so years. Now, we know that health functions differently in regards to time. And Gamble explained in an interview that the cage is somewhere around the depths of the ninth circle of hell sort of thing. So we can assume that in the cage, time moves just as differently as it does in hell. So we have this time frame of Lucifer being put in the cage, let's say sometime after the Lilith incident, and to the very moment Azazel is able to contact Lucifer. So if 4 months it's hell in 40 years, it's 40 years, right? So then we're looking at millions upon millions of years of Lucifer being isolated. So in turn, the symptoms that I'm describing to you now have to be multiplied by tenfolds, if not even more, to even grasp just the idea of the severity of his experienced symptoms. And it gets worse, because it always does, is that even after this objective isolation, post-release of the cage, Lucifer is subjected to perceived isolation once more. Heaven continues to negatively place him in this devalued role. The devil carries an ugly stigma. You know, isolation has really shown to impair the capacity of the individuals to reintegrate into society. And perhaps, you know, that's the point. But there is one individual who has the capacity of fixing and removing that impairment? I'm going to argue that's Sam Winchester. I know, get this, guys. So the devalued identity heaven has given Lucifer isn't one he accepts. You know, we see him constantly trying to debunk the negative stereotypes placed on him to Sam. And Sam really is this identity he holds to the highest of value. One of the most powerful archangels in the universe, stating that a human, Sam Winchester, was made for him just as he was made for Sam. So although we do see this attempt on Lucifer's part to sort of connect with individuals in which he sees fits of himself in, predominantly, you know, the negative aspects of his fall, like we see with Castiel, he tries to connect with him on the fact they both rebelled, they were cast out, that didn't work out. And Lucifer, he tries to do the same, he's very sympathetic, then he turns to negative parallels in their life. But Sam really becomes his last ticket, if not his only ticket, in finally gaining an identity to achieve that socialized connection that he has been deprived of for eons. So when Sam and Lucifer finally join together, we see Lucifer continuing to engage with Sam. Lucifer wants to make sure he's happy, offers to bring his loved one back from the grave, claims that they're family. And I saw it as this very touch-starved and need to really connect and positively socialize with Sam. So in the end, to just wrap all this up, is that in the end, Lucifer ends up back in the cage. Sam hallucinates after his own long-term isolation, hint, hint, come on guys, of a persecuting hallucination of Lucifer. And so in the gap between Archangel and Vessel grows wider, and it only makes future connection with Sam, if there ever will be any, incredibly more difficult than before. So it's really difficult to stomach the acceptance that God justifiably created and placed Lucifer in the cage as a form of timeout. And we see that isolation dehumanizes, it destroys the personality, and it creates a very broken shell that continues to persecute itself. So, I mean, we may never know fully of the individual Lucifer was before he began to experience perceived isolation. And Lucifer himself may not even recall his original self and personality. And, you know, I think that's the point. They say, you know, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. But perhaps the greatest punishment God ever pulled was convincing the world and the devil himself that the morning star never existed.
Oh my god.
And that's how you have it.
Wow, fuck you. Oh my god.
That ending.
Isn't that great?
Oh, I hate you so much.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
No, what got my attention there was you brought up the fact that isolated individuals tend to get touch-starved, and all I could think of there was and we've discussed this between the two of us and in our individual metas before, but the way that Lucifer, more so than any other angel that we've seen, aside from maybe Cass, uses his hands a lot. Especially to do his own dirty work. We never saw him with using his blade. He always killed with his hands. When he had to kill half a town and dig out a mass grave, he could have just been like, I fought there. I flexed my will and it's all done. Hey, great big hole in the ground because I wanted there to be. But no, he fucking picked up a shovel and did it himself. He needed that tactile experience because he's had fucking nothing but tearing at his own being in the dark for however long. Someone in chat brought up that maybe his angelic nature mitigated that, and yeah, I think that's entirely possible and probable, but also consider the amount of time he was down there.
Yes, and so one of the studies said that it doesn't matter how well adjusted you may be, long-term isolation will damage you one way or another. No one walks out of long-term isolation, perfect and happy as can be. There's a lot of permanent scarring, and it really deletes a lot of your personality, and it really creates unhealthy coping skills.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Crowley, because the Winchesters are isolating him in a room in the bunker, and they
were actually doing this, but they were completely doing this on purpose.
Yeah, definitely. And we already saw him hallucinate, but okay, that could be as a result of the spell that they did, but still, it could also be a result of the isolation, like you said.
It's really used often in brainwashing. We see it a lot used in torture tactics and whatnot. And so it's not so much a punishment. It really is this blunt force trauma to the psyche that really has zero, if literally almost few to none, ways to recover from it.
It's not really corrective as it is just, like you said, there's no redeeming value to it. It's something you do when you want to destroy someone, not when you want them to stop doing what they're doing. That's what you do to someone when you want them to stop being able to do anything.
Yep. Happy stuff, right, guys?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I can always count on.
What I'm just thinking is that I think that probably what is even making it what made it worse for Lucifer was the moment he was chased out of heaven, he still thought that he was like doing the right thing, and he basically did. I mean, after that heartbreaking speech in the end, I think we all had like more sympathy with Lucifer than with everyone else on this show.
Wow.
And I mean, we have him in this situation. He's just a younger brother who like stands up for his beliefs and gets kicked out of the house, and then he has to like losing your family isn't hard enough. Then he gets locked up in the cage, and he's literally no one and nothing that he can that he can put his attention to or pay his attention to, or just I'm just so emotional. I can't.
You're telling me. You're telling me. It was so awful writing this, because I'm just thinking like, oh, it's so hard. Like, it really was flat out abuse. And I think it's worse just because he's back in there again, and it's
without Sam. I mean,
And it was Sam who put him there. That's the worst part.
I know. Oh.
Semaphore.
It's great. I mean, Sam was really his only real way of surviving all of that abuse. And in the end, it's Sam who puts him in. That's heartbreaking.
Talk about the butt monkey of the universe. Jeez.
Right?
Let's leave this one behind. That's enough. Good Lord.
Okay.
I think Sookie's is equally happy.
No. It's actually quite positive, mine. Yeah, well, I can always make it negative if you want, but
No, it's okay.
Let's do it.
No, it's quite okay. It's actually pretty good. So I'm going to talk about dogs in Supernatural as a reaction to last episode, but I won't focus on last episode. I'll focus on dogs as a whole, like in the entire series. And they really carry a double symbolic meaning in Supernatural, because on the one hand you have Dean's fear of dogs that actually really manifested properly after No Rest for the Wicked, as he was clawed into hell by hellhounds. This is just a negative beginning. It will get more positive, I promise. On the other hand, dogs have appeared in Supernatural as a symbol of protection. Dogs in general are usually linked to the aspect of loyalty around just basic art and TV everywhere around the world and in history. But in Supernatural, I think the protection really stands out. But, I'll talk first a little bit more about Dean's fear. The first time that we encounter a dog that is pivotal to the Supernatural plot is in Mystery Spot, where Dean sees a dog on the street, and thanks to our lovely Gabriel, who is not dead, he gets murdered by that dog, and he's not afraid of it at first. And during the entire series of Supernatural, Dean has always disliked dogs, but in this first, encountering of a dog, he doesn't dislike it. But then he gets murdered by it, and then this really kicks off his storyline concerning dogs and his general dislike for them. But after he gets resurrected in season 4, we see dogs appear more and more as a symbol of his fear. For example, yellow fever, which opens with Dean being chased by, granted, a very little tiny dog, and he was infected at that point. But still, the writers chose a dog to show how scared Dean was at that point. But I'm sure the hellhounds, everybody knows that hellhounds have a great deal to do with this. So let's go over to dogs as symbol of loyalty and protection. In my opinion, what dogs represent as loyalty and protection symbolizes Dean's insecurities and failure to protect and be loyal and honest to Sam. In All Dogs Go to Heaven, the protection of the shapeshifter Lucky as a dog is central to the episode. They basically get onto him because he murders people to protect the family he lives with. In Man's Best Friend with Benefits really shows us this aspect, this protective aspect of Portia as a familiar to her witch. The fact that she gets the Winchesters points to her protection of her master, sort of. But most of this episode, Dean is really out of his comfort zone because his relationship with Sam is sadly incommunicative and not trustworthy at all, like a master and his dog, or like the way that a familiar protects her witch. And Dean has always hidden things from Sam, and their relationship has been difficult to say the least. So his struggle with being honest with Sam and hiding things from him are kind of the same, linear with his fear of failure concerning Sam. And Dean's storyline has always revolved around protecting Sam. I know most people are pretty angry that Dean never gets real character arc, so to speak, but his character arc is mostly protect Sam, save my little brother, time and time again in every season, and every time he fails. And Sam gets killed at the end of season 2, Dean gets killed at the end of season 3, and then season 4 and 5, I'm not going to go into what happens with Sam there to spare everyone the pain. But after that fiasco that was 4 and 5 for Sam, Dean has struggled to trust Sam and kept things from him. But, however, this is where it gets positive. At the end of season 8, Sam's revelation in the church promised to heal their miscommunications between the two brothers, as they promised to trust each other from now on. And another thing that a dog symbolizes in art and in history is communication, which kind of brings me to season 9, as we now have it in Dog Dean Afternoon. As Dean and dogs never really worked well before, this can also be linked to his relationship with Sam. They never really worked well before, but in season 9 maybe this will get better. In Dog Dean Afternoon, Dean mind melts with the dog, and we can see this as follows. Since Ezekiel is residing in Sam, there was no other choice but for Dean to take the potion to mind melt with the dog. And that is why they chose a dog. They might as well have chosen a cat or any other animal, and it would have been equally as funny, because Jensen, he can pull anything off, but because Dean's relationship with dogs is so sensitive and important to the show throughout, they went with a dog. So Dean's mind melt and general favoritism of dogs in this episode, he really connects with it, points to a new development, I think, of how he feels like he is able to keep Sam safe again. And I believe that even though Dean is hiding Ezekiel from Sam, he finally thinks that he can protect him again, as to, he couldn't protect him before. As the dog symbolizes the protection, like I said time and time again. In the previous seasons, Dean struggled to trust Sam, but with Ezekiel healing him, he feels that Sam has, this chance of survival again, and the secrets obviously make him feel bad, but I think that Dean in his heart knows that Sam is ultimately safe now, and, he doesn't necessarily fully trust Ezekiel, but he does trust Ezekiel to keep Sam safe, is what I think. So he finally is succeeding in protecting Sam. For now. Dun dun dun.
For now.
Okay. So what do you think?
I just want to say I would have loved to have seen Jensen acting as a cat.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of off topic, but man.
That would have been, but that would have been more. No, I'm just imagining cats being around.
Yeah, but it's
and being like rubbing. No.
It's not off topic, Tom, because they didn't go for the cat, and also in Man's Best Friend with Benefits, the villain was the cat, and cats have always been categorized in this, evil corner, I guess, and dogs in the good corner.
I don't recognize that episode as having existed.
Sorry. Sorry for bringing it up, but it was important.
I love that episode, just saying.
It's germane, but I won't get too far into that. There's a bit of a tie-in with the research I was doing for my segment coming up in a bit here. Is that the involvement with the Winchesters and Hellhounds actually dates back to John's origins as a hunter also, because there was an entire story arc in the Origins comic book where John was hunting and being hunted by a Hellhound. I haven't read the comics themselves, but that's kind of interesting that this is a recurring theme in their lives from the time that they were little bitties up till now.
I'm just too emotional right now.
Are you still scarred by Lucy's metaphor?
I'm crying over Lucifer.
I was trying to lift it up a little bit, but it just didn't work,
yeah,
I guess.
No.
Because Hellhounds, I was trying to steer away from the Hellhounds from my meta, because it was, Dean is afraid of Hellhounds, but maybe it will be better.
I have a question though about Hellhounds. So, Tom, going off your point, so do you think how Dean? Well, at least in the first beginning of the seasons, Dean's personality, Dean's likes, Dean's everything really mirrors John's. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if that fear of Hellhounds fear of dogs is more of something that came from John than really from Dean.
I don't know. There's not really been anything alluded to in the on-screen series that I've seen that has to do with the comic books. I think it's kind of para-canon, outside source material sort of thing. It's technically canon, but it's not really worked into the show itself. I think. We've seen him interact with dogs prior to, not a lot, but prior to the whole Hellhound thing with him getting turned into kibble. But, back then he didn't really hesitate with them. Mm-hmm. Mystery Spot, he went right up to that dog and kind of...
I got killed.
Turned into kibble.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just going to try to lift this up a bit, because I just thought, I mean I have a dog myself, and I think that everyone who owns a dog now, it's just like dogs just accept the good that is given to them, and they're happy for the smallest things, and they're just they love you if you're nice to them. They love you unconditionally, and with Dean being connected with a dog like that, like in the last episode, I think that this might actually be kind of a hint to more of a positive character development. That Dean is we've seen this in season 8. Already, that Dean is more and more accepting good things for himself, and that he's more and more feeling content and self-confident about what he's doing, about what he's feeling, and I don't know where I'm going with this.
Basically, trying to get over that what should be presented as a phobia. I appreciate these thoughts because it has kind of been bugging me a lot. One of the many things that bugged me about 905 was that there was like no mention whatsoever about Dean's issues with dogs. Sorry.
Wow.
You okay?
One of my cats decided to cling onto my knee with her hind claws and slowly lower herself down to the ground. Speaking of cats being villainous, holy crap! Sorry.
Well, you know. Yeah. Sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Here's something to think about there. With dogs having this dual nature as the defenders, as the hound as the agent of hell, as the harbinger of horrible things, they are a lot like Dean. And what does it say about Sam that he likes dogs so much? I think Sam likes dogs. I think Sam is the dog person because they remind him of Dean. Only dogs.
Actually, yeah.
He connects well with them, and yeah.
All the shedding and the loyalty. I'm sure Dean would like belly rubs.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, that's a shame
I'm
that
not
we
so
didn't.
sure that Sam would be willing to go.
Yeah, I was just thinking it's a shame that he didn't ask Sam for a belly rub last episode.
Yeah.
Because that would just have been the cherry on the cake of that episode.
I would have loved to have seen Sam's face to that too.
Oh god.
The my absolute favorite scene from last episode was this with the poodle. It was priceless. And the sex music playing in the background.
Wait, your favorite scene is
Dean
checking out your favorite scene is Dean checking out the poodle? What the hell?
So much. I was
What?
Carol, no!
No. I'm surprised, like, Sam's face was so nonchalant, too, and he just like, oh, yeah, whatever. I don't know. Your bro's checking out a poodle.
No.
Just come on.
No.
It was just so funny.
Great image.
Wow, I was just going to say, like, the whole Dean liking dogs again could also just be bad writing again, but okay. Apparently.
Oh. Okay, yes.
Hey, if Matt is going to give you a reason to say that this is not complete crap, then I'll go with it. So, we're going to close the door on that one. Last solo round here is mine. I'm picking up. Someone had asked me a long while back, on and on, what I think, if I think that asking for analysis on John's skill as a hunter and how it compares to his boys. And if you look at it on a surface level, you think, this guy took 22 years to figure out what this thing was that killed his wife. That's not that great compared to how quickly his sons pick up on things and take them down. But in his defense, and as much as it kills me inside to come to John's defense on anything, we'll start with his reputation. He's known in the hunting community as someone who is a great hunter, but not really a reliable person. He came into this having no idea about the supernatural. He was just sent to a psychic, and then his mind was blown. He had no formal mentor, though he did have some training, some help from other hunters in getting into it. He didn't have the internet. When Sam first came up wanting a computer, he was like, "What the hell? I don't think so."
Internet?
Internet is for nerds. Nerds and girls. Yeah. And you think, anyway, we're going to look at microfish. And that's exactly what he did. He poured over microfiche. He did things old school style. You know, people didn't have laptops. Well, you know, the rank and file people did not have laptops in '91. That was just not something that was common back then. And he didn't have any kind of basis in this, or any kind of backing. And so what he ended up doing was basically just floundering around in the dark for 2 decades, wandering around aimlessly. He didn't find out that humans were real until 3 years in. He found out that Sam had something fucked up with him going on around 91. And also, in fairness to the fact that it took him 22 years to figure out, to ID Azazel and move in on him, was that back then, demons were really, really rare. If you remember in not Phantom Traveler. Was it Phantom Traveler? Whatever.
It was Phantom, yeah.
Yeah, okay, Phantom Traveler. The boys were fucking scared shitless over the prospect of this being a real demon. They were like, this is some serious shit. We're not really ready for this, but we're going to take it on anyway. So, back in the day, before the Hellgate opened, this was not something that people had regular contact with. So it does make sense that he didn't really know where he was going. So basically what he would do is he'd move in, he'd just kind of flounder around, he'd shoot at things, and then move on. He'd make connections with people, but he kept moving on quickly. Basically everything was a pit stop to him along the way to avenging Mary. And that made him, you know, ferocious and effective at killing, but he often failed to finish the job. Look at the number of times that the boys were sent out to finish something that he failed to take care of the first time. The boys, on the other hand, have a number of big advantages there. They grew up in the hunting world, so they grew up knowing that a lot of this stuff is real. They didn't have the shell shock of being an adult, learning that the supernatural world is real. They did rely very heavily on John's experience, especially via his journal when they started out on their own. I did a count. John's journal has shown up in 29 episodes. It was 9 episodes in the first season, 4 in the second, and that tapers off to 2 and 3 per season since then. So when they were just starting out, they had to rely on John's experience a lot themselves. But as they continued on in their work, they basically formed a formal methodology that follows scientific method. Dean knows the whole ground pounding, on the ground level investigation and sussing things out mentally. That was John's method. Sam, who's been formally schooled more so than the others, than his brother and dad, knows how to conduct formal research. So between the two of them, their methodology is they find a case, they toss around ideas based on what they know already, they do research and investigation to fill in the blanks, they test the theory. If they're wrong, which they usually were the first time around in the first 3 seasons, they go back, do more research and investigation, and then they make sure it's dead. They don't just fucking leave town and say, oh, well, it disappeared, so I guess we're done. They make sure that whatever they're hunting is dead before they move on. And that on its own, I think, makes them better hunters. On the other hand, they do die a lot, and they get other people killed a lot, so that leads to them having the reputation of, while they are efficient killers, and they are ferocious, scary motherfuckers, others don't really want to be around them because they are this giant black cloud of bad shit, and if you get up to the Winchesters, that bad shit's going to happen to you too. They're going to keep walking, but you're probably going to be dead. So, in the end, as far as killing supernatural beasties goes, the boys are definitely better because they're better equipped for it. But both of them are really, both groups are really just massive collateral damage creators. So, what do y'all think?
Yeah, I think what the problem with John basically was that, as you said, that he was driven by revenge, while Sam and Dean actually get to it more on a more rational level. I think that with every kill that John made, with every monster he killed, he was just still trying to make someone pay for what happened to Mary. And what I also think is a problem that just popped into my mind is the fact that Sam and Dean have been raised into that while John hasn't. Because the hunter was actually Mary and not John. So I think John kind of had to pick up on all of this on himself. And hey, just for Dean and Sam, that this is the thing that they have done since they were kids, especially Dean. And I think this is just what makes them a lot more skilled.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, as when you grow up into something from a really young age, you pick things up so much more easily, and it makes sense that they would be better than John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely loved your, on the other hand, they die a lot.
Yeah.
Which is true.
But John also, come on. John died too.
Yeah, but he didn't come back.
Of course he no. Wait, who was it who killed him in... Of course he came back when Mary made the deal with...
Yeah, with Azazel. So Azazel killed him twice.
Yeah.
Man,
and it was Dean that finally killed Azazel. So over the course of his life of revenge, his 22 year... God damn it, Cassie. Over the course of his 22, 23-year quest for revenge, he ended up completely failing in the end. So, whereas his sons have not only avenged both of their parents, but have saved the planet several times. So, I mean, I think we can't really count the whole dying thing too much, because all hunters eventually die. So it's just a matter of how soon it happens and whether or not you get brought back.
You aren't a real hunter until you've died and come back again.
Yep.
Way to go, John. I think their intents are also very different. I mean, like you stated before, John was very focused on...
Azazel.
Yeah, on Azazel, but the boys really were focused on this whole entire saving people, hunting things, the family business.
To be fair, the first few seasons, or the first season, they were just like, we have to find Dad, we have to find Dad. Then they were focused as well, but Azazel, then it got turned into Azazel as well. So they were kind of on the same track as their dad in the first few seasons, but the further they get into it, the more they actually mess things up. Because to think of it, everything that has happened is because of them. Season 8 is a consequence of Season 7, 7 consequence of 6, and so forth. So actually they started everything. So...
You want to hear something sad?
Maybe not as good hunters. Yeah, tell me.
Alright, so here's something sad. So I was recently rewatching Season 1, and Dean takes John's journal, and he goes, "This is Dad's most valuable possession." And I go, "Yeah, it's not you guys."
Oh
my God!
Why'd you have to bring that up?
Wow.
That is rude. Just rude.
So rude.
Another.
I think we should kick Luce out of just making everything stressful.
Oh, really? Hang up.
Isn't that such? I just think it just shows that hunting really became the only thing on John's mind, and
yeah,
there should have been someone else.
he was willing to sacrifice everything, including that which he was trying to protect. So, other element is that John was a soldier. He was a Marine. He had several commendations for service and for conduct, for marksmanship, and a Purple Heart. He was a war veteran who saw combat. So that informs on his experience as a hunter and his how he approached hunting, as opposed to boys who were not raised civilians, but raised like soldiers. But
I think that John has really been living throughout his entire life this sort of war-esque kind of environment. I mean, he grew up without a dad because he thought Henry abandoned him. We have no idea how that childhood went out, other than Dean making a comment in season 8 that John has lived a very lonely childhood. And then in high school he goes to war, and that's all he really knows. That's what he's good at. And then he comes back to this hunting lifestyle, and it's just another war zone. And it's, I feel bad for them.
Winchesters have bad luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting that John, as this embodiment of the macho, remote, violent, quote unquote ideal of masculinity, ended up failing at his mission, whereas his boys, who don't really necessarily live up to that kind of ideal, even though Dean at least does, were able to have been able to save lives and to avenge their parents and to save the world and so forth. So while Dean and Sam, lesser so Sam, while the boys look up to John as their God parallel, the narrative does not support John's methodologies in the end.
Great stuff. Wow, so happy. Much happiness.
At least mine was happy. I can cling to that one.
Well, mine wasn't depressing.
All right.
All right, so closing the doors there. Open forum time. I got an anon asked, are we going to talk about the opening recap for 905? Anon wants to hear about our ideas on the Chuck and Becky scene in it, asking whether or not we think it's foreshadowing anything. As a recap there, it's that was the as part of the opening sequence the title sequence of 905. We had the scene where Becky was like, yeah, I know it's all fake, and blah, 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 and Chuck says, it's all real, and she says, I knew it! So,
yeah.
what do y'all think?
Well, to be, I don't know, the whole opening sequence, to me, seemed like a bit of showing us that it was going to be one of those funny filler episodes, kind of like, it could be foreshadowing, I don't know. I didn't really see anything into it, but, now that you guys bring it up, maybe it's foreshadowing, but to me it just seemed like a bit of, check it out, we're gonna do something cool like this again or something, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I really love the recap, but to me it was a bit like, after seeing the episode, the recap didn't quite fit what was actually happening on the show. Like, it was really just, as Sookie said, like a compilation of all the funny stuff that they did. But then again, what got me thinking is that that Charlie just mentioned Chad in Slumber Party at a chat. Oh god,
you're really tired, Carol.
I need to stop.
Time to go to sleep.
Oh. I'm so tired. Sorry. Okay. That he that Charlie mentioned Chuck. So, Chuck, I've got it. In Slumber Party, which was just a week ago. So, maybe it's got something to do with that. But I wouldn't put it past the writers to just have put it there for shits and giggles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it was. I kind of agree with Sookie that it was a lead in to the idea that basically telling us this is going to be one of those kooky zany things. They lead in with it's all real as a way of pointing out that all of this shit actually happens in this setting. That said, it was a really weird recap.
Yeah.
First half and second half of it were just really awkward. So I'm not sure what they were going. On the other hand, we did have a mention of Chuck 2 episodes in a row in one form or another. So there's that.
Yeah. But I agree with you that I found it a weird recap because I did like it as a separate thing, but as something introducing the episode, I thought it was a bit off.
It was strange.
What do you think, Luce?
I just thought it was really awkward. I really thought the episode was going to be incredibly funny because those are all highlights of one of the humorous episdes. And I get a 2-minute bedroom eye look towards a poodle, and I'm like, that ain't funny.
You know what else was not funny? Unbelievable.
I guess if you're Caro, it is.
I mean, I was like, oh no, stop looking. And then Tim's like, yeah, I get it. I go, no, hush. It was, it was just awkward.
He's
not a good segue.
He's mind melted with the dog. He's just copying the dog's reaction. No.
I said this in the Profound Radio chat for PR Sunday or PR Saturday, and I'll say it again here. That was not a complete mind melt. That was just saying, you're able to telepathically communicate. There was no other point at which he showed that he was experiencing the dog's thoughts. And don't even try to say that it was that the mailman thing had anything to do with that, because if you have seen more than one dog in one place at one time, you'll know that if one dog starts barking, all the other dogs are going to start barking too. That's what was going on there. So, the whole poodle scene came off more as two guys. One spots some hot lady across the street and nudges his buddy, and they both go like, "Yeah, oh yeah, like a dog."
No,
I still like it. I mean, with the whole episode, it was like it was like a bit.
Thing was awkward.
Yeah, I really, really liked the episode, but I didn't 100% get the impression that I was watching Supernatural.
Yeah.
But it
would have been funny if they were cats. You call it cat calling.
God, so done with you.
Tom is just giving up on life right now.
But yeah, it does count as dog behavior. That's as Fluorescent Brain said in chat. It does count as dog behavior, but don't try to say that it was a quote-unquote mind meld, because the excuse that people are trying to give to this is that Dean was showing attraction to the poodle because the other dog was showing attraction.
No, he was showing attraction because he was a dog.
Right.
Yeah, it was his own dog-like behavior that was resulting in the creepiest checkout in the series.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh dear God!
But the cleavage shot in 903 had nothing on this.
Oh, nothing.
Oh, it had.
Even had music.
I think it had. I'm just still not over this scene in 903. well, no, this is, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, to go back to the opening sequence thing where we actually started off, there were a lot of tiny little scenes that had nothing to do with the episode. So the whole Chuck thing really didn't really stand out to me. That's all. Yeah. Because why would that be foreshadowing? Why would that be foreshadowing if all the other flashbacks kind of thing weren't foreshadowing?
Right.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with it. It was, like I said, it was just setting the stage for it to be a cookie episode.
Yeah.
Giant bear.
Oh, that's right.
What was I going to say here? If there's anything that can be said about using Chuck and Becky there, it's that they have been doing a lot of deliberate callbacks to previous seasons, to major events in other seasons, such as Dean being a vessel, such as Sam letting Lucifer out of the cage, the supernatural books, and so forth. And it's interesting and frustrating to see that they are in dialogue calling back to prior continuity, which I love, but in action and in storyline, they're kind of looping up the season's continuity and taking Thor to it.
Yeah, they have been doing a lot of references back to previous seasons. It's just like, all right, so are they going to run with something with it? Is there like a underlying purpose to it? But I don't know.
Andy has said that that season 9 is basically, in a way, a pilot episode, a pilot season. Because in season 8, they've read in season 6 and season 8, they're basically rebooting the series with their new pardon me, with the new showrunners. And they have been kind of treating this as allowing people to play catch up. And I love the fact that they are incorporating the past into these things, not just saying, "Oh, hey, remember that thing that happened that one time that was never actually shown on screen?" Okay, and we roll with it. That happens. That happens. But calling back to actual previous episodes is good. They just, need to stop messing up the actual continuity with this whole sequence thing.
Yes. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I think we exhausted that topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of did. We still have... We made it almost 10 minutes on that.
We tried.
I'm just sorry. I'm sorry for my lack of participation on my part, but I'm just literally falling. I'm falling asleep right in front of my laptop.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
Invest in a coffee maker. We're going to keep you up nights.
Yeah.
If it was a cat episode, we could have said that she needs a cat nap.
Ah!
See, I hate Send me guys.
She's too tired to laugh, Luce.
Oh no, that's the worst. So do we turn it now to the audience?
I think so.
Tom?
Are there questions?
I'm going to find out from our person who is running Twitter right now if we have any pending questions. I don't think that we have any on Tumblr.
No. I actually can't, I don't know why, but I don't see when the Profound Radio blog gets...
Yeah, I don't either. We'll have to talk to Mabel about that.
Yeah.
Alright. Oh, thanks, AJ. Here's one for us. Some speculation. Do you think Cass is going to die again in 906?
Oh.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Oh, I don't think so either. It's been how many episodes now? Like 3 or 4 in a row where Ezekiel has to heal someone. I don't think they're gonna keep this up for the entire season.
Ezekiel has literally had to do that in every single episode thus far.
Yeah, every episode someone died.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, maybe they're like keeping up a trend or something. Think like, how long can we do this until they start getting angry? But
Start getting angry. That's just the supernatural thing. They're always angry. We're a British goddamn banner. That's where they're always angry.
Well, Dean's huge IOU thing towards Ezekiel because of these bringing people back from the dead. Like, Dean really owes Ezekiel one, and Ezekiel may collect sometime in the future.
Well, he is collecting by Dean sort of giving him permission to heal himself through Sam, kind of. And the more that he does for Dean, the more people he heals, the longer it will take for him to stay in Sam. So, stay in Sam.
There's a question. I'm not clear why. Oh, he healed Castiel in 903. I think it was for the sake of
being trusted.
Being trusted and remaining around Dean because he still needed Sam to heal up. So it'd be really silly to get on Dean's bad side at that moment.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really that he cares about Cass so much. He could. He might. He obviously he did that of his own free will without Dean asking for it. Mm-hmm. But just because someone, that's how drug dealers work. They give you the first one free, and then they start charging you for it.
Well, I don't know. I'm still undecided about Zeke, to be honest. Just he does. I'm on Dean's. I'm completely with Dean on this one. Like, okay, I would do it. I would make the same decision as Dean, to be honest, if I were in his position.
Right.
Wouldn't you guys, like...
Yeah, I would.
You don't know for sure, but the whole Winchester's thing has always been, don't think about next week, think about tomorrow. Like, live day to day, and just make sure you survive today, and then do whatever you have to do, and worry about consequences later. That's been their whole thing. So
yeah, that's their MO, and that's kind of how it is in the underclass and lower class. It's you can't really concern yourself with long-term plans because you just have to get through today. Like, am I going to have a place to sleep that's not the ground tonight? Am I going to be able to eat tomorrow if I buy this today? That's the kind of life that they live. Even now that they have a steady roof over their heads and a safe place to stay, that's still the kind of life that they lead, and it probably always will be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any more questions from the chat?
Not so far, and I don't think that... Oh, hi, Caleb.
We can talk about that addiction thing, or the parallel between Ruby and Sam and Dean and Ezekiel, although I think we exhausted that too.
I'm too tired for that. I'm
You're
sorry.
Really get yourself coffee
what
before the show.
my problem is? I would really love to discuss all these questions because especially the whole Ruby, Sam, and Dean Zeke parallel. I think this is just so interesting, and I don't want to miss out on discussing so interesting topics just because I'm tired and I can't even. I can hardly catch up with what you guys saying.
It's okay, I'm just saying bad jokes.
Actually, with the Sam and Ruby and Dean and Ezekiel thing, there is the same element of... this is something that, for some damn reason, a lot of people miss on Sam's relationship with Ruby, is that it was there was a lot of self-loathing on Sam's part. He was pretty freaking miserable about being in that relationship, even when he was absolutely convinced that he was doing the right thing.
Right.
And in Dean's case, he's really not convinced that he's doing the right thing. He's just convinced that he's doing the thing that he has to, and he has that self-loathing going on.
Yeah, Sam was always beating himself up about it. Even afterwards, even after Ruby, when it's still brought up, he feels awful about it, especially in the end of season 8 when Dean brings back, Sam and the Ruby thing. Like, Sam just looks like someone just punched him right in the gut, and he feels awful about it. But I don't think we get enough one-on-one time with Dean and his feelings, but...
Well, that's kind of whole Dean's thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Since episode 1.
Yeah, Dean and not facing his emotions.
And Sam also did hurt Dean really badly in that episode by bringing up, you don't turn to me, but you turn to an angel and a vampire. And I think, when you hear your brother say that he actually thinks that you don't regard him as high as a vampire, in that universe anyway, as a vampire, then, that would really, strike Dean as tough. So they both kind of said some mean things there.
Well, maybe that's it's Dean trying to prove Sam wrong. He goes about things in the wrong damn way, of course, but he said there's nothing in the world that I'd put in front of you, and apparently that means even Sam's own wishes.
Yes.
Well, now we're back at
so
the really happy topic.
Man.
Apparently someone sent a question on Tumblr, but I can't see any messages. Can someone maybe
neither.
check?
Caleb, help us out here.
What else is really depressing we can talk about?
Why depressing? Luce, do you do this on purpose?
Of course she does this on purpose.
Never.
Oh dear God. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get Caleb to check on that question for us.
Yeah.
Isn't that awful? Sean's most valuable possession.
Don't bring it up again.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's such
Why
a
am
huge,
I your friend?
I think that's such a huge parallel to heaven. God's most valuable possession is this Bible, this work of, secondhand from someone else about all these rules and whatnot. And that's his most valuable possession, not his own kids. That's awful. That's great. Just let that sink in.
The legacy, the Abrahamic mythologies is the legacy of God is these holy texts that just props up John as a parallel for God, God the absentee in the supernatural.
Yeah.
Someone who sent it. Thank you. We need to know what it is, Caleb.
Sure.
God, can you believe this guy?
I know. Now you know my pain.
Man, sending people an odd hate and now this.
Wow, what a jerk. Yeah, Caleb is just so rude to Tom. I don't know if you guys understand this, but Caleb actually sent a lot of rude things to Tom, saying he smells.
Caro, I think this is kind of for you.
Yeah, it is. I'm just going to read this. I'm just going to read it out. So, the message we got was, this isn't really a question, but a little addition to the Crowley-Abaddon meter. Another stylistic difference in their leadership roles is their relationship to the demons under them. Crowley rules from a distance, and the fault I feel for him, which we see in Sacrifice, is his assumption of loyalty from the host of hell. Abaddon seems to want to and have to find a way to rally allegiance, and I think her style will be more militaristic, like a leader on the battlefield, resulting in fear and love. This is actually true.
No, absolutely.
It's a really, really, really good addition to I'm just so sorry that I'm so tired, but I had a really rough week.
What?
We see her take away that loyalty thing. Don't we also see her in the change of wardrobe, how she used to wear that shirt that said, "The devil made me do it"? And then now she's all in like military garb. It's all about her now.
Yeah.
Her goal is no longer doing something for a.
She is a knight, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense that she would be all militaristic style and Crowley more of a distance, like they said.
Yeah, he's in sales.
Yeah.
We saw that, with Crowley, we saw that in effect in it was season season 7, Time for a Wedding. Crowley was fucking outraged at that one demon that was cheating on his deals. He's very. When you come down to it, he's very lawful.
Yeah, you could even say honorable, kind of.
Yeah.
Because he always keeps his deals. That's why he was also so angry with Castiel when Castiel didn't keep their deal on the souls. Thing.
Yeah. Very good. Good job, team.
Yeah, go team. What team?
Right.
Yeah. But I'm really excited to see more of her. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Someone else in chat said that there's a sort of a 7 deadly sins thing going on with Castiel's experience thus far in the season. That he had to kill Hyle first. She basically symbolized wrath. And then there was April, a 903, who I guess for some freaking reason symbolized lust. So it'd be interesting to see if this new guy in the upcoming episode, in Bob Aaron's episode, runs along the lines of one of those also.
Right.
We did get a question. What do you think of the writer's decision not to include the Cass and Dean last episode before he was sent out of the bunker? I think obviously it was a cliffhanger, but they could have had the other element is that those two writers suck, and I don't think they could have actually that kind of freaking conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And
what if they did add conversation and it would have just been horrible, and we would have been even more angry. So, I mean,
Sure.
But yeah, I actually really would have wanted to see Sam's reaction to it, to the news in general.
Yeah, that, and I just think that really, I think it's just so sad that of course Dean would close up to Sam, he wouldn't just pour out his emotions to Sam, but I just wanted to see more of his reaction other than just staring at Cass. I can't even describe the way he looked at Cass, but this, it just
regret and sorrow and
and just his puppy eyes, but it was it was
it was like he was trying to convey to Cass, this isn't my decision, I'm sorry, but you can't know why.
Yeah.
They also kind of ran themselves out of time. They easily could have cut out a lot of useless crap. There was a lot of chaff in that episode where they're basically just rehashing things that have been played out already. If they had had a better editor on that script, I think they definitely would have had time for that conversation between Dean and Cass. Instead, they just basically gave us what was going to be the most hard-hitting and what was going to be a cliffhanger. And yes, it was a cliffhanger because they did call back to it at the beginning of the very next episode. Sam was like, what the fuck happened with Cass? And Dean was like, I want him here, but he thought it would be, kind of tossed him under the bus with that.
Yeah.
Someone else asked, why do you think Crowley is still at the bunker? He has not done anything to try and get away. What do you think is his strategy? Well, he's basically just in a devil's trap. I don't know. He can get away.
But he does have a strategy.
And
Yeah,
there are all
he
these
has
soldiers on the chains and stuff, so...
I think he's creating inner conflict, and he's trying to do it through Kevin. Like,
Yes.
he knows Kevin is, he is Kevin's weak spot, definitely.
Because that's the thing. Crowley is not about blunt force. He is about insidiousness. He's going to for hundreds of years he has been convincing people to sell their souls. So what is he gonna do if he can't just power his way out of there? Mm-hmm. He's going to get into their heads. He's going to sow discord. He's going to use Kevin and push all those buttons. He's trying to push Sam and Dean's buttons too. But he found that weak spot in Kevin. He's going all kinds of Hannibal fucking Lecter on him.
Yeah, and I think he knows that he's going to have a chance to get out, and that he's just waiting his turn. Mm-hmm. And we pointed that out before. If there is something that Crowley's good at, it's waiting.
Mm-hmm. He's biding his time.
Yeah,
he's very patient.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it a future episode? He gets a phone call. Is that what's going on?
I don't know.
With Crowley? Or did I just make that up in my head? I thought
Maybe you had a dream. Crowley gets a phone call.
Or maybe I did make it up. Well, never mind then.
I can't remember anything like that.
I can't remember.
Me neither.
Maybe you dreamed.
I told you so.
You dreamed it, Lucy.
I dreamed it.
We got another question.
Okay.
Do you have any ideas, headcanons, for what's to come in Bad Boys and what may have happened in Dean's past?
No.
I think that sums it up very nicely.
No, because if I'm going to dream about prostitute Dean, I'm going to kill all of you. I'm going to kill everyone. Everyone.
Oh, you don't understand. Hooker Dean is my favorite paraking thing.
Yes, but it's also so fucking painful.
I'm just deadly afraid, that it's going to be something so anticlimactic. So we all expect so much from it, and I'm so afraid that the writers are going to screw up with this.
Yeah, I actually really, really hope for some confirmation of bisexuality. But after I read the complete summary, I just kind of lost my hope for that.
Yeah.
Because isn't he reunited with an old girlfriend or something? And
in one of these episodes, there's going to be a girl that I'll bet it's the one where they're born again virgins or some particular shit like that.
Oh,
I was right.
Wait.
I was right.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so next episode, Kevin needs to stay and work with Crowley to decipher the tablet. Crowley agrees to help Sam and Kevin, but in turn he wants one phone call to hell. Oh, I'm so good.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, who is he calling in hell?
Exactly. So that's another problem. So Crowley obviously has something up his sleeve. He's ready to attack one way or another.
Yeah.
I smell new character.
You know what I want, though? I want another mention of Rhonda Hurley on the show. I want this. I want her to come back somehow. I just want this so fucking much.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to stay out of that conversation because I have too much to say about it. Is Bad Boys just the one where we find out that he got sent to juvie something for stealing food, right?
Yeah.
And they have a conversion thing? Okay. So the whole side of Dean we haven't seen before is apparently going to be this whole juvenile delinquent thing. And how is that in any way new? My thing about Bad Boys is what I'm kind of wary about with this is that they had better not have Sam any kind of surprised that Dean had to steal food for them to eat. Because, come on. We know that he was kind of clueless as a younger brother. He had no idea the depth of the shit that Dean went through. Because Dean did, I don't know. Because Dean did a lot of shielding Sam. So.
Right.
Didn't we already see Dean stealing something as a little kid, like for Christmas or something? Or am I imagining
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean, Dean starved himself so that Sam could eat because Sam didn't want to eat his cereals or something.
Yeah.
I remember that episode, and then because I don't really know because
Sam wanted the last of the cereal, but Dean hadn't eaten yet. But Dean didn't
yeah,
care and
exactly.
gave it to
He
Sam
wanted
anyway.
he wanted another, yeah. Exactly.
Yes, Prussian.
So yeah, what I'm curious to find out is how they actually have things play out in this one is how that worked out with John, because John was this guy that literally would not let his son go to school because he didn't want to leave him alone.
Right.
Because he was so fucking codependent with his sons. How did it come to be that? I mean, maybe John thought that he was kidnapped. That could be interesting. When it turns out that he was, put into this delinquent center or something.
There's another question concerning the dogs. Could it be that Sam not showing any affection for dogs is the result of Ezekiel's influence? Sam seems to be nothing like that Sam we knew when it came to animals. Was it just bad writing? Yeah, I
think.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Actually, I don't think either. I think it was shown clearly in the physical acting there that Sam. Yeah, he was holding a dog, he was petting a dog, but he'd been doing it for a long time, long enough for his hands to cramp up. And it kind of, when you're being basically held hostage by an interviewee saying, hold me, rub my belly, keep doing this repetitive motion for a half hour, it kind of wears off.
Yeah, but, when he wanted to leave the dog in the car, though, and I think that's also one of the things that the Anon is trying to say, because that's also not really like Sam. I guess, sort of. I don't know, but it could also be a result of the writing when because they needed that for a joke for Dean to say, "Do you think we like that?" So.
What was that episode with the other dog? That was actually why am I blanking? With the Doberman Pinscher. The man's best friend one. Man's with best.
Yeah.
So that episode, Sam instantly went in to go pet the dog without any hesitation. But in here, Sam doesn't. Not the same. He's not as eager to pet other dogs. I didn't really see a lot of interaction with him and Colonel whatsoever.
Yeah. Which was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the Yorkie, it's understandable. With the other ones, Actually, if we think about that last interaction with Dean at the end here, this classic season 3, let's talk about our feelings and how much our lives suck around the Impala thing.
Absolutely.
When Dean said he was was talking about this dude being possessed by something he couldn't control, and the entire episode was about taking on the aspects of another being. Mm-hmm. So that actually could be a thematic or foreshadowing hint that Sam's strange behavior, things that have seemed out of character for him, is due to the influence of the angel inside him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we actually have another question. Mm-hmm. If no one has anything to say about this anymore. And it was, do you think Metatron is in heaven? Or was he evicted from heaven too? I mean, in the end, he is an angel.
I'll let y'all go first on that one.
Yeah, Tom, go on. Oh. Who wants to talk about this?
Okay, I will go. Okay. Metatron is I think he is an angel, but on the other hand, he was the scribe of God. Did they actually say that he was an angel? I think they did, but Metatron said, I'm not like Gabriel or Michael or something. I'm not an archangel like Gabriel or Michael. So, was it mentioned that he is an angel, like specifically, or did he just say, I'm not an archangel like Gabriel or Michael, or I am the scribe of God?
I think the thing is that he is actually like a minor angel, and then he was elect. He was chosen to be the scribe of God, but then when God left, like all the other angels were like, no, you're not, so you're nothing special. You're just like that little angel that had a bit of luck.
Right.
Yeah, and to answer the first part of the question, I think he still is in heaven because he told Castiel, when you die and come to heaven, tell me your story. So he's assuming that he will also be there.
And I think he was the one who cast the spell, and I think that he therefore wasn't like affected by the spell.
Yep.
Or maybe we have got no clue how the spell works, so maybe he could decide which angels were cast out, and he just decided to have all the angels cast out. I mean, we've got no clue. We don't know what that spell actually was.
Yeah, we will find out in a few episodes.
I'm also of the opinion that it didn't affect him because he was the one who cast the spell.
Yeah.
Basically, that some function of the spell granted him immunity to it as the one doing the casting.
Yeah, I think so as well. Because he definitely said that he would be in heaven. He would stay in heaven or something.
Carol. We have 8 minutes left on the clock.
What?
We have 8 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so in that case, I'm going to go ahead and plug again that you can send us questions that you'd like and topics that you'd like addressed for the poll to our Twitter account. It's at Profound Radio, or to profoundradio.tumblr.com. Make sure that you let us know that it's for profit hour. Otherwise, we do have 3 shows, so we might be like, oh, okay. Who's this for? Whoever gets to it first.
And
Red Soul Dancer?
Yeah. Go.
Wait, not really. Red Soul Dancer wants us to talk about something not depressing. Good luck.
To mention the new meta sites again, you can comment on our metas, and we will post the ones that we just talked about later tonight or tomorrow, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can comment. You can read through it without our stuttering, or more specifically, my stuttering, and then you can comment or like it or whatever. So yeah, go. That's all.
Exactly.
And as a reminder to those that don't know, if there are any in here that don't know, I run a Monday Meta Digest in which I comb through my dash and various tags on on Tumblr and around the internet, and find what I think are some of the best meta articles, and give them to you in a nice little master post type format. So basically giving you all some new stuff to read. Those go up Monday afternoons or evenings.
Great.
People read?
Yeah, people read.
What? Internet? What
even
is that?
Tom reads.
What?
What do you mean even Tom reads?
Texas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I did not say anything about that, Tom. That was all Luce.
Shit.
American is bad enough, but you have to add on Southern.
Oh my god, I'm so screwed. Anyways, expect more depressing things to come. If there's anything we can guarantee you, just like Supernatural, is to really ruin your day and make you question your existence. And we really want to keep on perpetuating that, because why not?
To be fair, Lucy is not here every week as we do a rotating schedule. So, just the one week where she's not around, we might have all happy stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, you guys are lucky. Whatever. Jerks.
Okay.
Whoa.
Right. We have like 5 minutes. Should we just head off now or something? Because I don't think
Yeah.
we're getting any other questions.
I don't think so. Or if we do,
I'm
then
not
we can save
making
it
any
next time.
sense anyway.
Yeah, and you need to sleep, you poor thing. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're going to go ahead and call it short by about 4 minutes. I think it'll live. Thank you so much for coming in, and for anyone who's just come in and missed a bit of it, you can always catch it later on YouTube or on the website. So yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
We're signing off. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.